Hi guys, welcome back to another video on the channel, and today I'm bringing you a bit of a different video. Actually, I want to bring you a video that is about for beginners, so someone who wants to start Sorare for the first time. And this is kind of a bit of a complete Sorare beginner guide. Now, I know for those of you who watch regularly, this is going to be a video that doesn't really apply to you. However, there will be a competition at the end, so please make sure you keep on watching, because there'll be some specific instructions and you can win some market credits. So I'll explain that later, especially for those who are new to the channel. And thank you for anyone watching this. I really think Sorare is a fantastic game. I really want to see people get involved, and hopefully by the end of this video you'll be able to know how a game week works, how the rewards work, how Sorare works basically, and what you want to enter. You may want to enter some things, you may want to not enter something. So yeah, but there's so many different options open, so I don't want the trouble is there's a stigma of sometimes people think you have to spend thousands to win. That's not true. There's so many different types of players in this game. There's people who can play for free, people who can play with limited budgets, people who can play with astronomical amounts of money. So there are various different ways you can play this game, and that's what makes it so good. And Sorare 27 really does have some amazing features, which I'm going to go on about in this video today. Now, moving forward, I would like to talk about what Sorare is. So, for those of you who are new to the channel and haven't seen this before, Sorare is basically a fantasy football game where you can own digital cards. Now, for me, it's kind of about making sure that you understand what it is. It isn't an investment strategy. It isn't something you're investing in. It's a fun fantasy football game that is actually ridiculously fun and actually really good detail. So like, instead of your usual fantasy games, which are excellent, but this goes into so much more detail, and I'll show you the scoring. So like, when people get like their scores for their weekly performance, it's not just based on goals, assists, minutes played and clean sheets if you're a defender or a goalkeeper. Now it kind of reflects on you, and you have to build up lineups. So you have to build a lineup of 5, which is 5 players for in-season competitions. So a goalkeeper, defender, a midfielder, attacker, and an extra player, which can be of any position other than the goalkeeper. And then on classic mode, you have to build a goalkeeper, 2 defenders, 2 midfielders, a forward, and an extra player. Which again, I'll go into more detail, but so you either need 5 or 7 players, and you can earn rewards. You can be competitive against each other. There's leaderboards. You can be competitive against yourself, and I'm going to explain that in a bit more detail going forward. But I think this is a really good video, and I think there's a lot that you could learn in here that will allow you to become very able to win at Sorare. So the first thing I'm going to do is take you around the website. So this is how Sorare is set up. So we have a play section, which it enables you to put your teams in. So you can put them in all different divisions. You can see them all there. That's all your in-season divisions. So for example, on Premier League, you can play Pro, Arena, and Arena for, which is the old Arena. Now I'm going to explain that in more detail in a later section, but for now, this is this part of it. So you're playing, this is where you'll put your teams in, this is where you will see how you get on in each game week. Lineups, this is where you can see your lineup, so you can see what you put in specifically for the week. You don't have to go through all the competitions, and you don't have to go through all the play menu to see that. You can just see your lineups quite clearly and how you're getting on. Okay, now as you can see, these are mine for this week, and these are what I call classic lineups. As you can see, I'm in the classic all-star, which means basically classic means previous season cards, because each season gets different cards, which I'm going to explain. Now you've got the scores, so you can see each team. So like you can go through seeing each team and what scores they got. So that may be good for scouting. It may be good to work out if you have like a whole team. You can work out what players that were good, what players are bad. Was it because of the game? Is it a regular feature? It kind of helps you with your research. We have the market, which is basically where you buy players. So part of this Sorare game, which is very different, is you buy players. So you own a digital card, that player. So these people that are bidding on these cards will own this card, this digital version of this card, and what they will do is they'll be able to put that in their lineups. You can only put in your lineups on the pro version the cards that you buy. And again, I'll go into cards in a bit more detail in a bit. Your gallery is where you buy cards. So this is my gallery, for example. So these are the cards that I have now bought, and I own these cards. Okay, so you own these cards, and I can go back all the way through. These are cards I crafted last year, and won last year, and bought it last year, to my original cards. These are the very first cards I bought in 2022-23 season. So I started off with very little money. I bought players that I liked, players that I thought would do well. Did I make mistakes at the start? Yes. This is why I'm here to bring this video, so you don't have to make those mistakes, and hopefully then you can reap rewards from that. I also play rare. Now, just so you're aware, this is where it gets a bit different, but I'm going to go into the gallery in a bit more in detail in a minute. I'm just showing you the website for now. And then you've got more. So you've got a blog, which basically shows you all the updates from the Sorare team, which is really handy. So it might be about updates that are coming, things that are going to drop. So like, for example, we got a boosted early access drop, which they told us about in the blog. You've got help, which I'm going to show you a bit more about the scoring, but it shows you about how to sort yourself out for your wallet, your account, making sure your account, really important, you make sure your account's safe, especially on this game when there's money involved. And then how football works. They also have an NBA version and a Major League Baseball version, but solely focusing on the football version. That's the only version I play. You then have games rules, you have your terms and conditions, and your legal notice. So just so you're aware, that is how the website works. Down here you have your essence and your XP. So essence is something we're going to explain later, but it's about how you can create cards that you can either sell or use in the pro version. You have XP, again I'm going to explain with cards how that works, but that eventually you can win as a reward. You have your cash part of your website, and then you have access to the other ones. But that's just a kind of a little brief overview of how the Sorare website works. So it's kind of simple for you to understand. It's a very easy user interface, and it's something that you guys can easily navigate. But if you do have any questions on the website, or you can't find something, you can always message me at any point. Okay, so here I'm going to explain what cards mean and what they actually stand for. So when you buy a card, you can use cards in certain ways. So for example, you can use limited cards like my ones here in limited competitions. I also have own rare cards, and you can use those rare cards in rare competitions. So each different category has a different set of cards. So just to make this clear so you can see all of them, and I'm going to highlight this here. So you have limited cards, you have rare cards, you have super rare cards, and you have unique cards. Now the idea is limited cards are the easiest to obtain. They also the more, I say, the mass market, so they're generally the cheapest cards, but there's lots of competitions you can enter with them, and you can still win lots of money, which is this is the best bit about it. So whatever tier you enter, you can actually win lots of money in either category. It's more about your research. Limited, there are more players, because it is the beginner entry price level, whereas rare starts to get more expensive. So for example, let me just take you on to English League players. What we'll do is we'll go on to manager sales for a sec. Actually, let's go on to, actually we can use it here, perfect example. So Erling Haaland. Now Erling Haaland, you can see now this is out of season, so bear in mind the price is a little bit different to the in season, but you get the idea of that's his limited version at £29, his rare version is £145, and his unique version is £7,500. So you kind of get the idea of what sort of area you're looking at. Now he hasn't currently got a super rare on sale here, but if we look at Rodri's are looking at £600, so you're kind of looking in between these two here sort of mark. And the reason for that is because of the competitions you place. So I'm just going to give you a prime example of this with on the leaderboard for Sorare for the J League here. So J League, if you look at the rare rewards, you can win 100, 50 and £25, okay, which is pretty good. Whereas if you went to limited, you could win 50, 25, so it's half the price basically for the limited rewards, and there's more players in it. If we went to a game week, let me show you like a big league. So if we went to a Liga, so this is what the rewards you'd win for if you won the arena against all the players in La Liga. You'd win £2,000 in limited. So limited, you'd win £2,000. You have to have 4 in-season cards. So you can have one classic card, which again I'll explain what the difference is. But you can see there the difference in prize pool. So that's why it's quite key. And then if I go back, and I go to rare, then you can see that there is a £4,000 win. So it's basically double the price, and look, half the players in there. So it was 57 in the limited one. There's only 29. So you generally play less people, but you've got to pay more for the cards. That's generally how it works. And then I'm going to show you what the cards look like. So this is the cards. So these are the cards for 2027. Now, what you'll notice is each year the card design is different. So 2027 cards look a bit like this, but then a 2026 version looks a bit like this. And actually this is what, so you basically open the cards eventually, but that's what a 2026 version looked like. And now a Sorare 26 looked like, and a Sorare 27 version now looks like this. So these are my Sorare 27 cards. So you can play different types of competitions. Now let's just look at the card for a sec. So this is the card detail. So I bought this Daniel Perez. Now let's blow him up. So forget this side. Let's just look at the card for a minute. So you can tell he's 25. You can tell he's from Israel. He's a goalkeeper, and I bought the 61st version out of 1,000 that will be released. Okay. So what that means is eventually through this game there'll be 1,000 editions of this Daniel Perez. Hence why you get cheaper prices. If I go to my rare cards, which I haven't bought any in season this yet, these are old season, but if you look at these and click on a card, you'll notice that they only produce 100 editions of rare. So mine's 34 out of 100 on this card, and they only produce 100. So that's the whole point of it being rare, is that there's less cards produced of them. Right, now back to what you see here. So you're probably thinking, what are all these numbers underneath and what do they mean? So this one here, this little box here, shows you the average score that they've got. So it just gives you a rough idea of what their performance is like. So if you look at Daniel Perez, you can see he's not had a great score there. He didn't play there, so he had nothing there. And he's had some low, a high score there, and then that. Okay, so that's not fantastic. Whereas if you look at Lewis Dobbin, for example, you can see he's had 2 good scores, 2 bad scores, and a great score. So blue means great, green means good, yellow and orange means poor. Okay, and if you see like a grey, that means not played. Okay, so that gives you a bit of an idea. Then you've got the number here in the middle. That means the average score over the last 10 games played. Okay, so in that sense, that he's averaged 47 in the last 10 games played. Now that might help you pick a lineup, because some lineups have a certain number of points or a certain number of points here that you can use per week. So just bear that in mind. Then you have XP bonus. Now, what this means is if Daniel Perez scored 100 points in a game week, very rarely do people get 100 points. He'd have to probably make a penalty save and a clean sheet to get 100 points. But if he did, he'd get 100 points, and then he'd get a 9% bonus on top. So what I mean by that is you get a 1% XP bonus. So XP is this stuff down here that I told you about. So you can add that to a card. So for example, if I go on Daniel Perez, I've got him level 1. Now I can add 400 XP to him, and now he goes to level 2, and he now gets 10% because he gets 2% XP bonus. He gets a 5% season bonus, so you get 5% for playing in season. So because it's a Sorare 27 card, I get 5% on all cards at Sorare 27. Whereas if you look here, you only get a season bonus of 5%. So because that's fit, and you lose all your bonuses. Actually, that's not a very good card to show you, because actually he hasn't got that anymore. Whereas you only get collection bonus on the other one. Sorry, MLS are still in season. Ignore me. And then you get collection bonuses. So the last thing I was going to show you is when you get galleries, the other things you can do is create collections. Now, as a beginner, you don't need to create collections, but a collection means it's basically, this is the whole Southampton squad this season. Now, the more players I add to this squad, the more points I get for it. And the more points I get for it, the more it adds up. So currently, I have 10 out of the 30 cards for Southampton this season. So I have 10 players out of 30, and that means I get an extra 3% bonus. So when I said that Daniel Peretz got not 10% bonus on top of his card, so he'd get 100 plus 10%, he'd then get an additional 3% because I got a collection bonus. I hope that makes sense. Again, if there's any questions, please ask me. Please message me. I'm more than happy to go through this with anyone, because I think it's important that you understand what you're getting into when you sign up. And I didn't have this when I first signed up, and I wish I did, because I think I'd have learnt a lot, and I'd have learnt a lot more quicker. Okay. So the next thing I want to show you is how to play the game. So there are 3 different modes. You have two pro ways. So you have the pro scene, which basically is like a ladder mode. So you have to score. For example, if you have a La Liga card, remember you'd have to. So for pro, you have to pay for it. Okay, so you have any pro or competitive ones where I showed you my gallery. You have to pay for that. Okay, this is a paid version. There is also a free version, which I'm going to show you in a second. I think it's a really good version as well. I've really enjoyed playing it this summer, and I think Sorare have absolutely nailed it on the head for people who want to play for free. But so, for example, this is one way you can do it. So you can basically climb the ladder. So if I score 320 points in a game week, you get 1,000 essence in the whole to use for crafts. So that 1,000 essence you can craft something where you could get like a new card, which you could either sell or use in a game. Okay, so that's really big. And then when you start going up rewards, you get better rewards. So they start bringing cash. So, for example, if you reach the very top one, which is 550 in the Liga, now bear in mind they have a boosted for 2 weeks, so that's why card prices are inflated at the minute in season. You could win yourself $24,000. If not, and you do reach that target, you would reach $6,000 normally. So it's still unbelievable value if you can get there. Like $6,000, that's amazing. So that's one way of playing it. You then have arenas. Now we have 2 types of arenas. We have Arena 2027, which I'm going to show you first. So Arena 2027 is effectively leaderboard mode. So this is a kind of a way that you can play with leaderboards. So it's kind of what I showed you a minute ago. So you'd enter a team, you put a goalkeeper, a defender, a midfielder, an attacker, an extra player, and then you can put 2 subs in, a goalkeeper and any additional player of your choice. And then you can win rewards against people. So this is currently got 29 players in. Bear in mind though, we've still got 2 weeks to the season, a week and a half, 2 weeks to season. Starting, but the first place prize will win $4,000, all the way down to 150th winning $25. This is in rare though, remember, but mind you, and then all the way down to 500 gets essence to actually craft those players, which you could still turn into cash potentially, and then you've got XP. Now let me show you the limited version, because I'd imagine most people will play a limited version to start the game, but you might not. You might have a bigger budget and you want to go rare straight away. That's absolutely fine. And then so $10 goes down to 50th, and then essence goes down to 1,500. But they already have 57 players, and I'm telling you, limited will have double, if not triple, the amount of players than rare. So that's just something to be aware of, okay? But it's definitely still winnable, and that's what's amazing about it. Another reason to sign up for Sorare at the minute is that you can win rewards. So the rewards you can win is XP, essence to craft cards, or cash, which you can either withdraw, or actually you can put back into buy other players with, and actually win more cash and just keep building it up. Some people do that, some people withdraw. It's totally up to you, but really and truly, that is fun. This game is really fun, so you'd probably want to use it to put more players in. You also have things that Sorare also do like little mini promos all the time, which can help towards this stuff. So, for example, you can also win market credits. And market credits are effectively, I have £4.93. So if I bought a player for, I don't know, £9, I'd get £4.93 off. Okay, so just to show you, just to give you an idea, if I went instant buy now, and I bought, I don't know, say Luca Brueggemans for £59, and I went to my wallet. And I scrolled down. I haven't got the money for it in a minute, so I'm not going to buy them. But I get £4.93 off, so it only cost me £55 instead of £60 effectively. Okay, so that's the benefit of having market credits, and I actually have a competition around market credits later, which I'm going to talk about in that section. But what I would do for now, if I was you as a beginner, I'd start searching cards. Like look at Mika Gotts, great card to buy. First game week, he's already had 89 points, so yeah, that's why he's £114 in limited. So he's expensive, but you know he's going to score. So you've got to start by doing your research. You've got to start by thinking about, oh, you know what? I could actually build a good team here. I've got some research. It might be that you go and find a player that's a little gem. So like Christian Zavitsky, excuse me if I pronounce it wrong. But what I know about him is he's a 19-year-old goalkeeper that's starting for Red Bull Salzburg, which is huge. Now, if I look at his sale price, which I believe I can, if I look, he started at, but actually let's have a look at 1 month because it's gone up massively. He was going for £25, and now we're looking at £46, £40. That's because someone found a gem at the start of the season, didn't think he was going to play, but obviously they knew he probably was going to play, and as soon as it became public he was playing, he's played the last 2 games. He's averaged 72 and 70, which is fantastic scores that you could win cash with, and suddenly his price has risen up massively because people now know that they're going to want to get involved in that. So that gives you an idea. You could play at all different levels. There you go. There's another example of limited, rare, and the super rare prices. Unique's a bit more very rare in season because they haven't really much released yet. Okay, so there are some about, but they're very expensive. Sorare also do release some promos, so there'll be some promo competitions where throughout the year they'll do something like something around Halloween. I think I've got some from last year actually where I did some. So you can always look at your different card editions. I think I've got Christmas. They did a Christmas edition, and then look, those are like a neon Christmas edition they did. They did do a Halloween one, so I've got a couple of Halloween cards there. So I managed to get Declan Rice, and I've got a Kadioglu. They do a winter one, which I believe was last year. Yeah, so this was the Christmas one from last year. The neon Christmas the year before. So they always do some promos, which is really good. And that means when you craft out new and you think, oh, prices are dropping, they can rise again because there's lots of promos. So there's so much value through the year, and you don't really lose too much value on your cards. You can also use your cards the year after. So, for example, when this season finishes with these Southampton cards, I can still use them next season because as long as the league's still there, even if it's not, I can still put them in All-Star and I can put them in a classic competition. So there's always use for these cards, and that's the beauty of Sorare. It's not like, oh, okay, Sorare 26 over, right, I've lost all my value in my cards, what do I do now? Do I have to start again, basically? Not necessarily. You could use these as classics, and some people got huge galleries. I've got about 300 cards. Some people have got thousands of cards. So it really entirely depends on you as a player and your budget. Sorare also do some really good promos. So I've got things like wheel spin. So I was going to show you that. I've actually got one for my other game, but basically you spin a wheel and you get free rewards from it. So you can get essence. Now I'm playing the free one, so that you have to ignore that for now. And I got 1,000 essence from it, but you don't usually get 1,000 essence, so that's just to show you that. So you get a wheel spin. Now, the last thing I want to show you is this set game mode. Now this is something I really want to show you. Set is the free game mode version, so it basically allows you to play like the pro version of the hot streaks, where I said you could build up the ladder. And basically what it means is you can build up, you play hot streaks and you can build up a ladder. So I've built up the ladder. You can see I've built up teams that have been successful. they reached the quota, and then I've moved on. So I've then gone to step 5 now. Now I'm not having a great week, so it's a great time so far. Both my teams haven't done very well, so I'm holding on for a sec to work out what I can do. And for this, you win gems, which you can buy packs with, and then later on when they're going to release the European version, I'm hoping, a bit like the World Cup, they're going to go back to cash, so you can win cash, and then that cash you could then put towards pro, which is really cool. And I think it's a really good game mode. It's free. You get a free pack every day. You get 4 wheel spins you can potentially get every day. You can go buy packs, but they're free. So once you collect the essence off the wheels, like I just did 1,000, so I just got that 1,000 essence. So I'm going to burn a bronze pack right now. So I'll open it. I'll get players. It's a bit like what you'd buy, but you get them for free and you build them up. So then you get. So I got loads of new players, and then you press continue, and they're in. That I can use them players now. Them players are now usable for me to use for in the game. So that's an option for me. So again, if you have any questions, message me, because there's a lot of stuff in the game modes, but I do think there's a lot of ways you can play, and that's what's so good about Sorare. You've got so many different options to play, whether something suits your style of play, whether something suits you. See, I quite like playing. For me, I quite like playing arena rather than pro. But that's just personal opinion. I don't have anything against pro. I just don't ever think I'm that good at building teams where I get specific scores. Where I'd rather go for a leaderboard, and if I get lucky, I might win some. I might get high up the leaderboard, and I quite enjoy playing against other people. So, but that's just me. If I was you as a beginner, I think it's not just. It's something you've got to decide what you want to do. I would personally start with set, have a game week or two playing set, because the card price will die down, so it'll give you an easier chance to buy some good cards, but also it gives you an idea of how scoring works, how to put a team together, and there's no risk to it because it's free. So I would really think about doing that. I think it's a really good idea, and I think that's a good place to start. And then once you've started doing well on set and you feel like, you know what, I'm ready to take the plunge in pro, then go for pro, and then you know what, I want to take the plunge and go into pro, and I want to win big money. Go for it and enjoy it, and build teams that you love. I built Southampton because I'm a Southampton fan. Build teams that you love, and don't just think about building them for winning. Build them for teams you love. There's 2 ways you can look at it, and do your research. If you can do your research, you can outsmart people, and you can get good results. Okay, but again, any questions on this, give me a shout. The next section I want to talk to you about is how scoring works, because I think it's important you understand how scoring works. It's really not as simple as a lot of other fantasy football games, and I think that's the key for me, that you understand exactly how the scoring works in Sorare, because it is so much better than the average fantasy game, because it takes into account so many more factors. So let's just make it clear. Scores are between 0 and 100. Okay, that's final. You can get some that go over 100 if you get them captained and you have the percentage bonus, but the actual scores they get will be between 0 and 100, and they don't go between that. Okay, we have what's called decisive scores, all-round scores. Okay, so these are the 2 key bits, because they're what we're different. Okay, so we're looking at decisive score first. Now, decisive scores are very much things that have direct impacts on the game. Now, you can get lots of negative. You can basically get positive points, so it boosts points. So say let's start a game with 35 points, because that's what you start a game with. If you score a goal, an assist, penalty 1, clearance off the line, clean sheet for a goalkeeper, penalty save for a goalkeeper, or last man tackle for mainly a defender, you will get a big chunk of points added to your player. Okay, so for example, they score 2 goals and assist, they're likely to get 100 points. You can also get negative impact. So if they have a red card, an own goal, a penalty conceded, or errors lead to a goal, that's a big chunk of points they'll take off. So if you start 35, you could be down to less than 10. You could be down to even 0. Okay, so just so you're aware. It also takes into account, if you have a positive and a negative, it does balance itself out. So you will not see a increase. Okay, then it will be down to what we call the main score. So we talked about the side score. Now this is the all-round score. So the all-round score is looking at statistics that aren't the decisive actions in a match. So your decisive actions in your match are a bit like your fantasy Premier League, your fantasy football games, that they always have decisive actions based on them. Now this is where Sorare is really different. I really like it. Sorare takes into account a lot of secondary statistics. So as you can see by this table, you can have, in general column, they have yellow cards, fouls. Fouls get minus. That's not done in normal thing. Was fouled gets you positive. So if you bought a foul, error that leads to a shot, negative points, and a clean sheet gets you positive, and a yellow card gets you negative. Then you've got defensive things. So tackles one, block crosses. You've got effective clearances. So it really does break down the performance. Possession. You've got possession lost, possession won, duels lost, duels won, and interceptions. So it may be a case of defensive midfielders actually score really well. And a prime example of this is in Fantasy Premier League, Rodri doesn't usually score that well, but in Sorare he scores really well because actually his passing, so if you look at the passing with the accurate pass, the big chance created, and the accurate long balls, and all those passes, plus you get the possession, he wins the interceptions. He scores really high all-round score. You then got attacking, so you get points for score on target shots for one contest. So I'm assuming that's like a going up for a header in a box type scenario. Penalty area entries you get a positive score for. Then if you miss a penalty or a big chance you miss, you get minus. So there are lots of different aspects to Sorare, which I love. And what the key thing for me is that you know that it's not just about those decisive actions, the goal scored, the assist, a bit like in your normal fantasy game. Okay, it's actually a lot more detailed than that. So for me, I would actually not dwell on it too much as a beginner, but just remember that there are players in other positions that can be solid. So a Rodri, for example, would be good in this game mode, isn't good potentially in the other game. You have to think about who's going to have the biggest impact on the game, both for all-round score, and sometimes all-round scores can be so good that they don't even need a positive impact score from decisive. So I've had players in the past who have scored 80 by just getting that high all-round score, but haven't had a decisive action. So it can happen, and it just shows that if you really do your research right, again, for example, you've got positive points, chances created. If you know a player that crosses the ball in lots or takes set pieces, then you know they're going to get better scores than other players. So you've really got to think about it, and actually really, if you do your research, you can really find some really good players that are cost effective. So that's how you score. That it is a lot, and it is a lot to take in, but I don't want to do it, but that is the key. So you have your decisive score, which is like your normal fantasy, and then you've got all-round score. If you have any questions, again, ask me, message me, and I have Twitter as well. So if you want to message me on Twitter, it's @Chris390 Sorare. So feel free to message me on there as well. Now, the last section I really want to talk about, and actually things that I think you should be careful of, and it's kind of my section on beginner mistakes. So things that I think I did, and things that I think you can avoid doing that help me. Don't buy non-starters. Don't worry about collections. Just buy your first 5 players that you know are going to start. Pick players that you know are reliable. For example, Arsenal. You know Declan Rice is going to start every game. You know Gabriel's going to start every game. You know David Raya is going to start every game. Forwards, a bit more tricky, but you probably know Saka's going to start every game if he stays fit. Again, got to take into injury account. Don't chase old scores. So if you see a player that's getting 90, 90, 90, 90, but before that's got 40, 40, 40, 40, and then he starts to get 40s again, don't chase that. Don't go for scores that you know in the past. Go for players that you know that can score well for you in the week coming forward. Don't worry about what's happened in the past. Yes, it's a good indicator, but it doesn't mean it's necessarily going to happen for you. don't spend everything immediately. If you've got a massive budget, don't spend everything immediately. Get one team, see how it goes. If that team goes well, then add to it. Get another team. But don't go and blow your budget in 1 week, because if you do that, I guarantee you'll be regretting it after 1 week, because you'll probably go, I just want to change it because it's a better game or better fixture for my team that I could win more rewards with. So just take your time. Don't rush. Don't ignore injuries. Don't ignore fixtures. If there's midweek games that are going to affect so for example cup games, so like English cups, Sorare doesn't do, but if that affects then the weekend team, which would actually be in the game week, you need to be careful of that, and don't ignore injuries. If people get injured a lot, think about if it's really worth buying them, because it probably means that they're actually going to cost you money in the long term. Don't just buy random cards. Do your research. When I first joined, bought cards based off what I saw the last 5 results do, and actually that's such a negative thing to do. Do not do that. Buy cards that you know will consistently perform for you and that you trust in, not just based on what their last 5 scores were, because their graph looks pretty, because it can soon die off if it's not sustained. There'll be players that will sustain it, so Lamine Yamal will sustain it, Rodri will sustain it. They are going to be more expensive, but you know they will sustain it. It's all about you weighing up the cost of buying regular worldy players to gems that you can find that actually, a bit like the goalkeeper we talked about, where he actually scores really high, but he was actually really cheap at the start because people didn't think he was going to start. The next thing I would do is have a competition in mind that you want to enter. So if you support a team, go back that team. Like, you'll know that team inside out, so you'll know how to line it up, because you know probably who's going to start. You probably get ahead of game. You also will be able to work out which competition is going to be best for your team, because of why you know how much you're going to score, and that's kind of an experience you'll get used to that. So like, I know that if I build a big enough Southampton collection, which I'm hoping to do, I'll be able to play both the hot streak and the pro version. But at the moment, I'm not sure whether I want to play pro or arena, so I'm kind of on the fence of that a minute with that. But kind of make sure you know where you're gonna maybe pick a league at least, and then but one you enjoy. Do something you enjoy, not because you think it's good. That's key. Don't forget to check your lineups. There's game weeks, so deadlines. So if you look on here, they always have deadlines. So you'll see it's more in arenas, a bit more pro. Sorry, is a bit more relaxed, but arena you'll see like these times here. So once that time's passed, you won't be able to enter a team, so just remember that, okay? So there is deadlines, make sure you check them. Also keep checking them through the time, because you know on the gallery, if you go and pick up a team, let me just do a team for next week. So let's do an all-star team for next week, because I know that will come up. So if I go all-star, let me pick, so I haven't picked anything. Now can you see here, it will say, actually, do you know what, I'll do it via, because so if you go on here and I'll pick a new lineup, can you see it says 90% there? So when I was going through the cards, the other thing that happens is they're Sorare are powered by, work with Sorare, a company called Sorare Inside, which basically allows you to know what the reliabilities, the chance of them starting are. So for example, in this game, Jonathan Sorro's 90%. Now that happens on Pro as well, so that will happen on Pro. So come to the game week, you'll see percentages. Now that'll change based on press conferences with managers, potentially news being leaked. Like, you have players fluctuate from 90 all the way down to 40 because managers said that they've started training, but they picked up a knock or something. So you have to be really careful and keep checking those lineups. Okay. Don't treat Sorare like an investment. That's my biggest takeaway from beginners. Treat it like a fancy football game that you're going to enjoy, that's got some quirky elements to it that's very different. It is a unique game. There is nothing like it, but enjoy it. So that means don't go and think, right, I'm going to spend £1,000 and I expect to get £4,000 back. Don't do it. Only spend what you can afford, okay? And that, for me, is something that you could really enhance. And if you enjoy doing it, you might get something out of it, but don't do it like that. do it to have fun, to play fantasy football, and to just enjoy it. Just have a different version of it. I love it. Like, I still play Fantasy Premier League, and I play this, and it's just so different, and it's really fun. But for me, Sorare is really coming to the forefront of the pinnacle of fantasy football at the moment, and get on board before it gets oversaturated. That's what I'm going to say to you, because it is an unbelievable game, and you have an opportunity to be part of that. So please get involved, okay? Any questions on this though, please, again, like the other sections, message me on Twitter, on YouTube, wherever you need to. And now, to finish with the competition time, I have a competition for you. So, what I would like you to do is to win €20 market credits, which could help you start your new team. So, effectively, if you bought €40 worth of players, you get them for €20. Okay, so it's 20%. It's €20 market credits at a 50% discount rate for each player. So, like I showed you earlier, if you use it, if you buy a player €40, you get it for €20. So I think if you convert that, for my currency, it's GBP. I'm Great British Pounds, so it'll probably be about £16-17 of market credit. If I bought a player 36, then I'm getting them for about 18, 19, 20 quid. Okay, so it's basically money off your player that you're buying. It really helps. You can use it on low costing player as well, so you can use it over as many cards as you want, but you'd have €20. So to win this €20, I would like people to subscribe to my YouTube page, because the more subscribers, the more I enjoy delivering the content, and more people to see my thing. I'd like you to comment on the video your Sorare username and the word Chris390. So if you put Chris390, your Sorare username, and you subscribe to the channel, you can win yourself 20 market credits, which will be announced in my next video. I hope you've enjoyed the video today, and just to add to the competition, anyone can win that. So my current subscribers, anyone who still plays Sorare or has already started Sorare, you can win it. And also beginners. It's open to everyone in the competition. But I hope you've enjoyed the video today. I know from my regular watchers, I'm sorry, it's something that you probably don't need to see because you're big avid Sorare players. But I really want to increase the fan base. There will be a link in the description. Sign up via that link, and it will allow you to get extra market credits when you buy players. So on top of my competition, you could also get some extra market credits. So really and truly, you could get maybe a whole squad for half price. Okay, so make sure you use the link below to get your team sorted and sign up to Sorare via my link. So if you want to sign up via my link, sign up, and then you'll get into this screen and you can start playing. Alright. Any questions, any issues for any new players, please do message me. I'm pretty good on my socials. I'm pretty quick with messages. If you're trying to sign up and you're having any issues, hopefully I can respond within the next half an hour to your message, and we can get you sorted. But it's a great community. You'll love Sorare. Please enjoy it. Please get in part of it. Get involved on X. I keep going Twitter, but it's X. Get involved on YouTube. There's some great guys out there. With some great people in the community, and yeah, it's a brilliant community that around it, and you can learn so much off so many different people. Like, I learn off different things off different people, so maybe you'll learn something off me that you won't learn off someone else. So hopefully that's the case. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked the video. If you did, like it, subscribe, and on the next one I will announce the winner. So get your Sorare username down, subscribe, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and comment Chris390. Thanks guys for watching. See you on the next one. Bye bye.